Ever think you'd find yourself on the edge of your seat about, of all things, crematoria?
Crematoria.
Yeah, crematoria. Buckle up because we are diving deep into Bainbridge Island City Council meetings from April 2024,
Okay.
where, and you're not going to believe this, a seemingly simple topic sparked a full-on passionate community debate.
Really. I mean, local politics, those city council meetings, they can be a little,
Dry.
yeah.
A little dry.
This is anything but.
Okay, so what happened?
It's crematoria. Who knew, right?
Wow, that's not what I expected.
It's fascinating how something like crematoria, something that most people don't think about daily, can become this lightning rod issue.
You're right, most of us don't have crematoria top of mind. So what's the big deal here?
It gets at these larger questions about community values, about growth, and honestly, about death
Yeah.
and how we deal with it. Right.
Wow, I see what you mean. So walk me through this. What happened?
Okay, so we've got the minutes from two meetings, April 9th and April 23rd. And to understand the drama, we have to start with that April 9th meeting.
Okay.
On the surface, typical city council stuff, really.
Yeah, your regular agenda items, proclamations for this, celebrations for that.
Right, exactly. Volunteer appreciation, Earth Day, all that good stuff you expect from a place like Bainbridge.
Yeah, makes sense. But you said there was some foreshadowing here.
Well, think about those proclamations. They're kind of interesting if you think about it.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, they reveal, maybe unintentionally, some of the underlying priorities in the community. And in this case, it's relevant.
Okay, I am intrigued.
So someone brings up crematoria during the public comment period. During this April 9th meeting.
Yes, this is April 9th.
But it wasn't even on the agenda.
Nope, not officially.
Wow. Okay, so people were already thinking about that.
Oh, yeah. And I gotta say, when I first saw that in the minutes, I was like, okay, things are about to get good.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual to see that level of, I don't know, preemptive engagement, right? What was the resident's name?
Lisa Macchio.
Lisa Macchio. Okay.
And she was back on the 23rd, too, by the way. This was important to her.
Clearly. What was her deal?
We'll get there, promise. But the point is, for her to speak up this early, it tells us this wasn't just some random thought she had.
Right, like this was already a thing. People were talking.
Exactly. Think of it like catching wind of a neighborhood squabble,
Yeah.
But it's before the fences are even built. Something's brewing.
Okay, I like that analogy. So we've got simmering tensions. Someone's already kind of waving a flag about it. What next?
Well, both of these meetings, April 9th and the 23rd, they kick off with those closed-door executive sessions.
Juicy. Everyone loves a little mystery. But we don't know what was actually said.
Right. Right, those are confidential. We only get the legal reasons for why they were held.
Right. Which, let's be honest, can be pretty vague.
Totally. But they can also offer clues, like the April 9th session. The reason they cited was RCW 42.30.1101.
Okay. And in plain English, that means?
Usually that section of the law, it deals with potential litigation, or sometimes like legal strategy related to something specific.
Ooh, so they could have already been talking about the crematorium issue at this point.
It's possible it might have been something totally unrelated, but the timing.
Especially with everything else that happens, it makes you wonder.
Exactly. Makes you wonder, right? Like, were they already lawyering up for this crematorium showdown?
It's wild to think about. But okay, so we've got a resident bringing up crematoria weeks before it's even on the agenda, a maybe related secret meeting. Feels like the stage is set for, like you said, things to get good.
Oh, they get good. Fast forward to that April 23rd meeting.
This is the one with the big crematorium showdown.
Oh, yeah, this is where it all goes down.
Okay, so what happens? Give me the details.
Remember Lisa Macchio?
Our early bird crematorium enthusiast.
She's back.
Of course. I knew it. She wouldn't miss this.
She came ready for round 2.
What'd she have to say?
Well, she wasn't alone, first of all. This meeting, the 23rd, it sees this huge wave of public comment all about crematoria, people on both sides, fired up, ready to go.
Wow, so this wasn't just like a quick comment period. This was
the main event.
So what were people saying? Were their concerns mostly practical or?
It was deeper than that, I think. If you read between the lines of these minutes, it gets at these anxieties people have about the environment, about what Bainbridge is supposed to be like.
Right. Right, that small town feel, that Bainbridge Island character.
Exactly. I even sense a little bit of that not in my backyard energy, too.
Oh, for sure. Death and taxes. Everyone's got an opinion, but nobody wants to deal with either one next door.
And to make things even spicier.
Spicier. It gets better.
Oh, yeah. The county coroner himself shows up.
No way. Seriously, the coroner was at this meeting.
Jeff Wallace, in the flesh, there in the minutes, weighing in on the issue.
Whoa.
Ah.
That just elevates the whole thing. It's not just neighbors debating anymore. It's literally life and death stuff.
Right. And this is where it gets really interesting in terms of how the council actually makes decisions. Specifically, we got to talk about Ordinance 2024-11.
Okay, Ordinance 2024-11. Remind me, what was that about?
This is the proposed moratorium on new crematorium permits.
Right, to pump the brakes on any new crematoria popping up.
Exactly. And the council's process here, it's like a masterclass in local government in action.
Okay, I'm ready for the lesson. Break it down for me.
So Deputy Mayor Quitzlund, he was really driving this whole thing.
He was really gung-ho about the moratorium.
Oh, yeah. And the way he went about it, his whole strategy, it's fascinating. He really focused on the wording of the zoning code.
Clever. Those little details can make or break you in local politics.
For real. So Quitzlund, he kept saying that crematoria, they weren't specifically listed as a permitted use.
Under the existing code.
Right, in that section of the BIMC, the Bainbridge Island Municipal Code.
BIMC, got it. Gotta love a good acronym. Makes you feel like an insider.
Right. Section 18.09.020, to be exact.
Specific. Okay, so no crematoria listed there. What's his point?
Well, his argument was because it wasn't explicitly allowed, the council, they had the power to hit pause.
Ah, I see, like a loophole.
Exactly. He even quotes the administrative manual, like the thing that tells you how to understand the BIMC. He's not messing around.
So he's not just saying, hey, I don't like crematoria. He's saying the rules, as written, don't even let us do this.
And it worked. The amendment, which added that language about the permitted use table, it passed 5-2.
Hold on, 5-2. So not everyone was on board.
Nope. Council members Fantroy Johnson and Schneider voted against it.
Interesting. The minutes don't say why.
Unfortunately, no. What were their reasons? Were they pro-crematorium? Did they just not like the strategy? We don't know.
A mystery for another deep dive.
Exactly. But for now, back to our regularly scheduled saga. So the amendment passes, which means the moratorium itself. That passes too, also 5-2. But here's the thing about moratoriums.
There's always a but, isn't there? What's the catch?
They're temporary, right?
Exactly. It's not a permanent ban.
Yeah.
Moratorium just buys the council some time.
To do their homework.
Basically. They can study the issue, maybe get some more information, talk to experts, and then potentially revise that zoning code.
So round 2 of the crematorium debate could be just around the corner.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if residents are already gearing up for the next public comment period.
Marking their calendars, practicing their speeches.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be good.
But for now, let's put a pin in the crematorium saga, even though I'm dying to know what happens next. We have to get to these other fascinating items from the April 23rd meeting.
Right, because crematorium weren't the only things on the table that day.
It was a real buffet of local government goodness. And some of those side dishes, they were pretty interesting too, if you ask me. Like those changes they were talking about to the building fees.
Ah, yes. Building fees.
Yeah.
Always a crowd pleaser.
Well, it struck me because on the surface, it seems kind of technical, like something that would get lost in the weeds of the meeting. But if you look at what they actually decided, pretty revealing, I think.
Oh, absolutely. These seemingly small decisions, they often tell a bigger story about what the council really prioritizes.
Exactly. Like they decided to completely waive certain building fees for affordable housing projects.
Which is huge. That's not nothing. It sends a clear message about their commitment to affordable housing on the island.
Right. Which, let's be real, is a major issue in so many communities.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in desirable areas, places like Bainbridge. It's a big deal.
Huge. And then they talked about streamlining the permit process, making it easier specifically for nonprofits. What was the thinking there, do you think?
Interesting question. I think it's about empowering those organizations, giving them a little more leverage to actually make a difference.
So instead of just like responding to developers, they're empowering community groups to actually like shape things.
Exactly. It's a subtle shift, but potentially a really significant one.
It really makes you wonder how that'll all play out, you know?
Right. Like, what could this mean for the future of development on Bainbridge?
What new projects might pop up that wouldn't have otherwise? Okay, speaking of the future and long-term planning, in the minutes, buried in there somewhere, There was this thing about the solid waste contract.
Ah, garbage. The lifeblood of local government.
More exciting than crematoria?
Well, maybe not, but essential. Every city has to deal with trash.
Truth. So they're bringing in a consultant, right, to help them figure out what to do about garbage in the future.
Yes. It suggests they're really taking a hard look at their current waste management system.
Which probably means,
Big decisions are coming.
and probably big expenses too, right?
Solid waste contracts can be incredibly complex.
So follow the money, as they say. There could be a whole other story there.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Okay, duly noted. Now, I know we're running out of time, but we can't talk about Bainbridge Island City Council meetings without addressing the one topic that always seems to come up.
Let me guess. Parking.
Close. Aesthetics. Specifically, those Winslow Way banners.
Ah, yes. The banners. A tale as old as time.
It's like every town has that one thing, whether it's banners or benches or whatever, it always sparks debate.
It's fascinating, isn't it? These seemingly minor issues, they tap into these really deep-seated ideas about what a community should look like, what kind of image it should project.
Totally. Like, we all want to live in a nice place, but nice means different things to different people.
Right. And who gets to decide? Whose vision wins out? It gets complicated.
So complicated. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've got crematoria, building fees, garbage contracts, even those infamous Winslow Way banners. It's a lot.
A whirlwind tour of local democracy.
For real. So for our listener who's maybe driving home from work, listening to us break down these meetings, what's the key takeaway here?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that local government, it might not always be glamorous, but it matters. These decisions, they impact our daily lives in really concrete ways.
So true. Even, or maybe especially, the things we don't always think about.
Right, like where your trash goes or what kind of banners are hanging on Main Street.
And whether or not you can build a crematorium in your backyard.
Exactly. It's all connected.
So the next time you're strolling down Winslow Way, maybe admiring those banners, remember, this is what those city council meetings are all about.
And remember, you have a voice in those decisions.
Yes. So stay informed, stay engaged, and keep on fighting the good fight, whatever that looks like for you. Until next time, happy listening.